What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me on these analysis. We're going to be looking at MicroStrategy today, running through a little bit of speculation and seeing what we could possibly be having. So as you can see, we kind of had this similar pattern where we've ran up, gone sideways for 4 to 5 months, ran up, gone sideways for 4 to 5 months. And on the way up, you can see we're just going to use these two examples because they look the most similar, and that's what we're kind of anticipating to happen. Doesn't mean it's going to. But we've had, on this flagpole here, we've had 2 months of large candles, and on this one we had 3 large candles, but a little bit smaller than these two here. So we're going to just pretty much measure out these two and measure out these 3 and see where, if we were to get something similar to this or to this, how that would play out. So if we were to take this bottom here and we measure that out over 2 months, it's 327. So 327 from here, and we're going to move it out 1 month. 327 takes us to about $1,000 bucks, and that would be in May if this were to take off and to make the exact same gains, because this first candle on this monthly was 120%. 120% on this candle would take us to 525. Now, do I think that's likely? Not really, because we only have 11 days left, but anything can happen with MicroStrategy. And then the second candle was 100%. So you had 120, then 100%, and then 100%. So let's see. I mean, that'd be exciting to see, obviously. And on this one here, we had that run up of 380%. And 380 would take us right in the middle of our target of 1140. So $1,000 bucks if we see 2 large candles like this, and 1140 if we see something like this. And then we'll just speculate and say we'll say 3 candles the size of this, just for fun purposes. So if we had 3 candles that were, well, actually we'll go from the body. We'll go from the body to the top. So 45%. So if we went 45, that would take us to 427 at the end of this month. And then if we were to go from the body of the next one, but we're going to do the same size, so 45, another 45. The following month would take us to 618. And from 618, another 45 would take us to about 900 bucks. That's not including wicks to the top. That was just the body of this candle. These are just speculative ideas, just to see like what could possibly happen. Especially with like global liquidity kicking up, things are looking like they could be getting crazy anytime soon, I would imagine. Especially when you look at the size of the legs compared to what we have now. I mean, this thing is just absolutely vertical. So when you take that measure of here to there, you measure that out to the next one, it's much smaller than this one. And if you measure it out all the way up to the top, you measure this one out compared to this one, that one's a lot smaller than what we're currently having, which we haven't even started taking off yet. Well, I mean, if this is the bottom, then yeah, we started taking off now, but we'll see how it plays out. But that's a much larger move. I mean, probably like a 25% larger move so far. Could be even larger. But for the first move here, you're talking about a 355% move. And then for this leg here, this green line with this leg, because of the lag, you're talking about a 364% move. Is that right? Hold on. I'm sorry, 328% from here, and about 370. So 320, 370, and now this one's much larger. So let's see what happens. Like I said, maybe 25% difference. Probably not 25. Maybe like a 15% increase. Or I don't know, maybe 15, maybe 20, maybe 20% difference from this leg to that. So just for speculative ideas, we do 373, yeah, whatever, 370 or 360. We'll do 360 plus 20%. 360 plus 20% gives us 432. So if we were to gain 432 on this leg here from this bottom, 432 takes us to 1250. If this is 20% higher, we don't know. This is just for fun, just to get our minds going, see what the possibilities are. You can put it in your calculator, see how much you may or may not make. Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see what could be coming. And on top of that too, when you take a look here on the daily SMAs, we had a death cross, which is actually, since remember, SMAs are lagging indicators. So usually by the time a death cross comes, the move is already too late. Like it's already gone. You know what I'm saying? So we had this death cross, but now as you can see, we already took back over the 50. An official death cross is the 50 crossing down under the 200. That's an official death cross, like by definition. But the way I see it is really just a lower time frame moving average crossing a higher day or week moving average. So we had our death cross, and a lot of the times it actually ends up like marking close to a bottom, not exact, but for instance, like we have a death cross here, and if this is the bottom, then this kind of marks it, and it actually is a bullish sign, even though it's considered bearish. But so we had another death cross here, as you can see. We had that bottom here, and from there we ran up. It doesn't play out every single time, but I'm just going to go over these examples that I have drawn out here just so we can get a visual of what happens on these death crosses. Death cross here, 50 crossing that 200, large move up. So that's 3 in a row. That's a golden cross going, that's the opposite. 50 crossing above the 200. We had a death cross here. I mean, this is kind of controversial because, you know, push down, it didn't really mark the bottom. We ended up going a little bit lower, but then we ended up rallying a total of, you know, 50% and then continued down. So we moved up, but then we ended up falling down further. So I guess we could say this is, we say 3 out of 4 now. This one played out pretty well. Almost marked the bottom. And then if you go from that bottom, you ran up, you know, 150%. So 4 for 5. This one was almost close. I mean, it didn't mark the exact bottom, but we'll take from like this area here. I mean, all the way up there, that's, you see that, that's huge. So we'll just go from here 150%, but if you want all the way to the top, 750 and beyond. So that's 5 for 6. And this one, I don't know, the bottom came in a little bit later, it seems. But you ended up rallying still about 60%. But you can see it's happened, I don't know, 6 out of 7 times, 7 out of 8 times. So it's pretty good indicator for when the bottom could be in. So, and we just had one now, so we could be anticipating some kind of move to the upside, hopefully. So that's the same thing that we just saw previously, where we saw the death cross, the 50 going underneath the 200, and potentially seeing a bottom. Hopefully this is the bottom and we start rallying up and we overtake this 200 day and we just blast off from here. Hopefully we can see another move like this, but on a larger scale. That'd be awesome to see. And those price targets that we were talking about the price targets being 1,000, 1150, and 1250. And if we were to take that, 1,000 MSTR would be roughly 142K Bitcoin. Just so you guys have an idea of what we need to get to that $1,000 price target. That 1150 would be, you know, still in the same ballpark, 148, 145. And then that 1250 would be somewhere like around 152. So if we want to see that, we definitely got to be, you know, maybe a Bitcoin of 135 to 150 to hit those targets in terms of this model. This model doesn't have to always be correct, but as you can see, it does deviate to the upside and it does deviate to the downside. So keep that in mind. We're currently supposed to be at 269 here, and the current price is 317. So we're overvalued by 17.8 according to this model. But you'll see that it's hardly ever exact. It's always going to be overvalued or undervalued. It just depends on how it's deviating, whether it's to the upside or downside. But hopefully we see more dots on the upside as we're rising, because then when we're at 142 and it's supposed to be 1,000, that 142 is actually giving us a 1,300 or 1,200, which is what we want to see. So that's where the MNAV comes in and all that kind of stuff. But so just a quick little speculation video. I like to do these on the weekend when there's no trading activity going and stuff. But yeah, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.